they maintain it. It's typically over a 20, 25-year term. Or it can be negotiated out if Cecil says, hey, we want to eventually have a pathway to owning this, then you could have a financial, the negotiations in a contract to where you have an earlier buyout. They're responsible, while they own it, they're responsible for maintenance. As Mr. Cassiola stated, you're just changing who you're writing your electricity bill for the majority of that energy, whatever the portion the solar is producing, and offsetting from your utility. So it's the nice thing, as far as a power purchase agreement, is the ability to know what you're budgeting for 20, 25 years for that portion of your electricity cost for that building. So it's a very valuable budgeting tool. Yes, you can put solar on parcels of land and you can sell that energy. The 2 mile thing really kind of applies. It gets technical here. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but it's for aggregating opportunities within one ownership and one building structure. You can put a solar farm, just for the sake of it, out here in the parking lot, and aggregate billing within a 2 mile radius up for Cecil Township's properties. All right, or you can sell this energy to any customer that agrees to purchase the energy off that. It doesn't have to be outside of 2 miles, but it's the ability to take that energy production like to this building, and maybe you have a public works building that's 2 miles away, or another building that's another 2 miles away. You can put those all in one bill and kind of aggregate the opportunities that solar can offset there. So you can get into the weeds and a wonky discussion, but that's our role, and we can help with a lot of that.
I'm still not sure. I understand you're going to bill, per hour or whatever, similar to what our other professionals do, but what is that cost?
Our fee is $125 an hour. Okay, and it just depends on what is the scope of our work. As I said, it's the value to Cecil Township is the independent nature of our feasibility studies. Let's just say something that I think would be of great value to the township to have on file to explain to your tax base why you decided to do this, or why you decided to put solar on that property, that building. We have a study that was completed that would be able that you can be able to pull out for public discussion.
On average, how many hours does it take to complete a study?
To complete a study? I'm not trying to be vague and invasive here, but it really can be anywhere from 10 to 50 hours, just depending on the scope. It would have to.
But we would need, these are things that I think maybe, like, if you wanted to, you could, like, write down and put into a formal presentation that can be presented on our board. We can't make any decisions tonight because this is an informal information gathering thing, but these are all specific things that we would need to understand before signing on or reading anything. Like, we couldn't, I can't imagine a majority of our board would agree to say, okay, showed you a study and how many ever hours it takes you.
Fully understand, and I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree. The purpose really for me here tonight is to introduce what we do, not really to ask for a contract.
No, I understand that, but
it's really part of an ongoing discussion as far as what do you want to look at? Do you want to just look at solar at the new public works building? Do you want to look at solar for this building? Do you want to look at solar for consider a review of all the properties that Cecil Township owns? I think it's an ongoing discussion, whether it's with township manager, someone else on the supervisor board here, or whoever, to kind of get a little bit of a guidance as to what do you really want out of us, and then we can come back and tell you, all right, this is what we can do, and this is what it would cost. And that's where we do change the dynamics. I'm not here to sell anything other than the fact that we love to promote solar. We're here to work on your behalf as to what you want moving forward.
Now, if you make excess power, are you sure the power company has to buy it?
Yes.
But that's the problem, Ron, like, that's what I was saying, so like, that's how it works with my parents, because they own their own solar panels, so the power company buys their excess power and has to, and it turns around and pays them.
Right, right.
If we're doing some of the things that Tom talked about, and you were suggesting, which is allowing someone else to own solar panels on our building because they pick up the cost, they're earning not only the tax benefit of that, but also the benefit of the excess,
No.
the cost, yeah, we would get that? How? Like, how could we get
Because
that?
your relationship with the utility company doesn't change. The solar array is the only thing that changes, it's on your roof. But your relationship, that's still that electric meter that the solar power is going exported out to the grid on an overproduction day, that's credited to your electric bill.
Well, then what would be the benefit of these companies coming in and paying for maintenance, paying for installation of the solar, only to get a tax benefit?
And the fact that you agree to purchase the electricity that's generated from the solar array on the rooftop. So that's a, see, you have to realize from a tax strategy, tax equity strategy, these organizations have a great need to offset their tax obligations. It's modeled out typically that we are probably returning 40 to 50% of their initial capital outlay in the first year because of the tax incentives.
But so sorry, and maybe I'm not thinking this, but you're saying like the solar power generated from the solar panels would be sent back through the power company, yes?
The excess energy, in other words, the solar is generated, let's say it's on this roof here. All right, the first thing that happens is that the building itself consumes the electricity that's generated from the solar.
Right, okay.
All right, so whatever is excess left over is then
But
export.
wouldn't it be more cost effective for us to just pay a loan or pay out for the solar panels and then not have to pay an electric bill? I mean, aren't you trading apples and oranges, whether you're paying a loan for the solar panels or you're paying XYZ company to provide power from these solar panels?
See, well, and that is typically a strategy. What you miss out by just purchasing, financing the solar array on your own is the ability to capture those tax incentives.
Yeah, but like we can't. There's nothing
That's
you
what
do.
I'm
So
saying.
we're essentially giving another company a free tax benefit of that because we can't.
But thus reducing your overall project cost.
How? Like that's what I would want to know. Like,
Because they're able to,
they'll pay for it, but I'm just saying like the loan on $400,000, and I think because I've experienced with my parents, I can see like they say their loan, and I don't know what it was. We'll say it was $20,000 to put solar panels on there. They're already in year 3 making more money on the electric that they are producing from West Penn Power than is the cost of the solar panels. So that's what I'm saying, like, we're basically giving away a free tax benefit to a company because it may be, I can't imagine that it, like.
well, so it effectively reduces your parents as an example. 3 years ago, I think it was probably a 30% tax credit. Part of the value added to where they're making money on this is that if it was a $20,000 cost, they got $6,000 tax credit from the federal government on their federal taxes.
Take that aside.
Investors do the same thing. So if it's a $100,000 project that they fronted, all right, they put up their own money, they're able to capture that same tax credit effect, and then passing on a monthly kilowatt hour rate to you, it's effectively reducing your project cost by those tax incentives. And then in a period of time, let's say once the investors have reached their objective, typically they have to hold on to the project for 6 years. But after 6 years, if their objective is that we don't want to own it after the tax credits that we've captured, we'll sell it to you at a discounted rate because
But
they've
then we
already.
still have to buy, that's what I'm saying, like, I wanna see like a spreadsheet that
That's
says
all.
like, here's the initial project cost, here's the cost, the tax benefit that they're gonna get, here's our bill from if we keep them ourselves and get it reduced over like a 5-year, you can extrapolate it over like a 5-year period, and here's the cost in, you know, if they give it to us, because quite honestly, it doesn't sound.
That's part of the purpose of the
But
feasibility
I think we
study.
can do it on our own, I mean, quite honestly. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I appreciate your presentation, but I think at this point, we understand what you provide, we would just need, maybe you can have a conversation with our township manager
Yeah,
about what we are looking for, and then provide us like in writing some more specific details that we could consider at a public meeting.
yeah, I'd like to.
Maybe to clarify a little further, she's talking about, if you show us a breakdown, if we just did an array on our roof, separate from a consortium of business owners out there, businesses out there, if we did that, and also then if you can give us something to show, well, if they could put up such a certain size array on some property that's suitable for them, roughly what you are.
Well, what I could put together is a financial model, just a generic financial model, you know, of a hypothetical system.
But keep it separate, because we, you know, I mean, I think her position is she's probably leaning towards it, just having our own building done.
Sure.
Where, you know, the suggestion was if we have enough unusable land somewhere that's usable for a solar array, give us like a different idea on that.
I think those are two different things, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to that, but I'm just saying, like, I
Like I
want,
said, it is two separate
it
things.
is two separate things.
Well, what I can do is like I just said, I can do just a model, a hypothetical project. You know, one is just pure cash that you finance, when I say pure cash, however you come up with the funds for that. You know, and then one that's utilizing a third-party entity that can capture the tax benefits and show you the difference.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.